good, wonderful Thursday morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley's Tune Up Uplift Night. I'm Reverend Pam Gagan, and it's my honor to be with you today. And we advertised, so to speak, that my talk would be 10 steps, 10 small steps to change, 10 small changes that make a big difference in your spiritual journey. And I changed it now to 14 small steps. So the 14 small steps are getting bigger, but I'll share them all with you. And my desire is that you can use some of them that I speak of tonight. And so I just want to center ourselves right now before we even begin in this wonderful spiritual moment, learning about spiritual practices. And so we're just going to breathe in from the very top of our heads with God is on the in-breath. And I am on the out-breath. And just filling your body with that light from the top to the bottom, to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the right, to the left. And just relax in and enjoy what I have to share. And of course, if you would like to put something in the chat line I can respond to later, or go to our website, cslpleasantvalley@gmail.org, and leave questions for me or ideas for me. I would love that. So please do that. Please take the time to do that. Let me know you're there. So my title is 14 Small Changes That Make a Big Difference on Your Spiritual Journey. And what I know for sure is there's no single way to become spiritual. And most people think the only way to nirvana, as I say, to that place of endless bliss, is to be religious. And how you do that is to be in touch with your divinity. There's only one way to reach that. Spirituality, I believe, is, and I know that I'm not alone, sages throughout the ages believe this too, is a deeply personal journey. It doesn't fit into any orthodox religions, classes, churches, or belief systems. So I believe, as Centers for Spiritual Living believes, that all spiritual paths lead to that one source, nirvana, the bliss of being in a personal relationship with the divine. That is that one fine thread that unites us all when we're in touch with its passion, and that is love. And so that relationship of the divine, when it comes to you and through you, it's like a river's current that brings such great joy and ecstasy in relationship with the divine, the one source, the one power, the one presence. And my experience is the more I connect with that organic current, and I'm able to surrender to the journey that leads me beyond my own self. I always say get down with your own good self, not your bad self. The more you want to drink from that divine source, that divine stream, the happier, more joyful, the greater your experience of life and how you see life is. And as I always say, the river sometimes is placid, sometimes is beautiful. Other times those rapids appear out of nowhere. And where does that river run to? Well, nobody really knows, but you're there to ride it through. And no one can tell you how to ride that river through when there are rapids, or when to jump in or jump out, or when to surrender. But one of the things we know is, like the Tao, we need to surrender to the current of what is happening and trust in the river's wisdom more than fighting and burdening ourselves with more and more baggage of what is not working for us. It is in the moments when you're quiet, reflective, and intentional that you become your greatest teacher and guide, from being connected to the divine and listening deeply to the great beyond within you. And it's in those moments of connection that you commune with that higher power, and the answers become clear, and they just offer such clarity sometimes. So if it isn't about going to church and studying the Bible, science of mind, the Quran, Torah, the Book of Mormon, the Bhagavad Gita, or any other religions that you know, Mohammedanism, and all religious philosophies that you know, then what path leads us to make conscious efforts and become more spiritual? Well, I've studied the writings, not all of them by far, but many of the sages throughout the ages who have attempted to answer that question. And tonight I'll be sharing 14 ideas gleaned from those religious leaders, psychologists and neuroscientists, and many more experts on how we can reveal and experience one-on-one that divine connection with our source, whatever you want to call it. As I said, God, Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, the thing itself, Mohammed, Elohim, Alawi, whatever it is. When you know, when you're in that flow, you deeply, deeply are happy, passionate, and divine. That divine connection rises above everything else in our lives. It becomes the most important times, those ecstatic moments, the ones that you hold on to. So the tips I'm going to share with you tonight, most of them we already know, so they're going to be great reminders. And others will maybe be new to you, but I invite you to just take the ones that help you to connect and take them in deeply into your heart, and then commit to doing those wonderful practices. So the first one is helping others. And in order to become a more spiritual person, you must first realize that we're all on this Mother Earth ship together. We're all on this beautiful island in space. And why are we here? Why did we come here? To love, to serve, and to remember who we are, to help each other in this lifetime, to make it through while we deepen with every wonderful gift we give to someone else. So helping others may take you on many different paths, and it can be so simple, like extending a helping hand, smiling at people when you're in public, or after COVID. I say, when safe, after COVID, simple acts of kindness create a big, big difference in others' lives. So let that kindness extend from you, that energetic kindness. And it's not about what you do, but who you are. And I just heard a story tonight on a Zoom call about a woman. All of her life she lived in one neighborhood, and every day in this neighborhood she put fresh flowers on people's porches and front doors. And she was missed more than so many of their friends and other people in their life when she made her transition. And as they said, the angels sang at her celebration of life in gratitude. So the second great tip is envisioning a life that includes loving ourselves, opening our hearts to self-compassion, self-acceptance, self-respect, self-appreciation, and self-gratitude, and most of all, forgiving ourselves. And it is so difficult for some people to be in that place of loving themselves. I suggest you write down all of the good things that you do that day and the things that make you feel good about yourselves. Because in order to treat other people with loving kindness, it has to become something that you know about. And if you don't know about it and you don't practice it for yourself, then how can you give that which you have never experienced to others? So in other words, treat yourself with the same respect, love, and kindness that you give to others, that you love and respect and have compassion for and are grateful for. Treating ourselves with respect creates confidence, knowing we have something to offer. Exploring our gifts and capabilities helps us build our confidence. And choosing those around you that support us in our strengths and believe in us unfailingly, that's how we build our tribe. That is the foundation of relationships of like spiritual minds for us in all the seasons of our lives. They are those we can turn to in the good times, in the bad times, when the rapids get rough in the river, or when the river takes us in a direction that we're not pleased with. Number 3 is called the 5-5-5 practice. And I'll tell you what that is. That 5-5-5 practice can put the mind in a state of spirituality, and it basically just involves, when you wake up mainly, at least spending 5 minutes in meditation, connecting with the divine. I always like to spend more time in that because I am so happy when I am at one and in meditation. At least 5 minutes in meditation, 5 minutes in stretching, however that looks for you, whether it's upper body, lower body, or yogic practices. 5 minutes mentally preparing for the day. So after meditating, clearing the mind and connecting with Source and revealing that highest in you, then stretching, making the body come together, mind and body and soul coming together, and then maybe writing down, putting into words and on paper that which you would like to accomplish that day. Doing the list, but not the list that you have to, the list that in the highest and best that you can bring to this day. What would that include? Number 4, forgiveness for others. That's a biggie. It's a biggie for most of us, non-judgment and forgiveness for others. And it's also a crucial part of spiritual growth, because many of us hold on to so much trauma from younger lives, and even trauma from yesterday, and trauma from our earliest childhood memories. You just have to let it go. That's so much bagness. It's so much letting, it's so many bags. I always say, here we are on this spiritual path, and we look so happy and we're so together, it seems like, but we have all of these bags we're dragging behind us. And so when you meet somebody, you see the beginning of who they are, but who they really are in that deeper consciousness, while dragging those 50 bags behind them, eventually wears them down, wears your relationships down with them. So just forgive self and forgive others, and let go of that which no longer serves you and is weighing you down. And so if you write the forgiveness list, it may include those you believe you've wronged and choose to decide to forgive them, have them forgive you, and also those who have wronged you and you want to forgive them. So forgiveness is one of the most magical, spiritual, heart-opening, letting go of emotional baggage, spiritual practices that opens the door to our hearts and opens the door to joy, happiness, and compassion. And I love Radical Forgiveness. If you want to explore more, the book by Colin Tipping called Radical Forgiveness was one of my husband's favorite classes and books too. So if you find that you need more information about this, please look it up. The other one is practicing patience, and I say sharing your toys. Sharing your time, your talent, and your treasure. And I love, it's so wonderful having grandchildren, because you can go back, and when my Allison, my granddaughter who's now 4, was watching Daniel Tiger, I always loved, they were always helpful hints. And so when Daniel Tiger got angry or became very impatient with himself or anyone else, and it's Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is the show for kids. He said, when you're feeling impatient and you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you get to 4, eventually everyone gets their turn with, you can share, you can relax in, you can share the good that is being offered for everyone around you, knowing that eventually your good comes, and it comes full force when we take that small step in making a commitment to being more patient. Being more patient lightens your spirit, creates more inner peace, and in turn teaches others patience and how to be at peace when they're in your presence. So each moment we practice our patience, taking a deep breath and counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We free ourselves of inner conflicts and burdens that that allows that space to open up in our hearts, to allow the peace and joy, the who we are, and that oneness with others in relationship to fill our souls. Number 6, always be truthful in order to achieve a higher state of spirituality. If you want to keep your consciousness clear so that light can shine through you in that purity of who you are, in that innocence and purity of who you are, and you can sleep better at night, then make sure that you're always telling the truth to the highest and best of your knowledge and ability. When you tell lies, the lies build up, and it's the web we weave in order to deceive. The more we deceive, the more lost we get in the web, that sticky web, and we don't even know, what truth is anymore. Number 7, and I know a lot of us do this already, start a gratitude journal if you haven't already done it. It is the simplest way to attract more good into our lives. And we know in science of mind and in so many teachings, no matter what they are, whether they're Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, Sufism, whatever it is, we know that the more we concentrate and focus on the good that we have, the gratitude and awareness of that awakens us to our greater, happier moments, also we are attracted to more and more good in our lives. It's so interesting. Sometimes in that innocence, we only see the good. And I don't think that's a bad thing all the time. We choose to focus on the good. And the more we focus on the good, the more good we see, the more good we embrace, and the more good that embraces us and shines forth in our lives. Number 8. This is a biggie for me, and I imagine for all of us. Listen to your intuitive, spiritual inner voice, the one that is always right. Sometimes we hear that voice and we don't like the answer, so we do what we want to anyway, and we end up having to, it takes us back steps instead of forward in our journey. And so when we listen to our intuitive, spiritual inner voice and our heart, we value that intuition, and we value that gut feeling that guides and provides us and informs us to make decisions, because our gut is usually never wrong. It is an extremely accurate way of revealing in us what feels good and what doesn't. But most often, as I already said, we ignore it and ask our brain to make the decision instead. I invite you to take more opportunities to just, even like Daniel Tiger, when you want to make a decision, just quiet the mind, get rid of the chatter, go into the heart and the gut, and listen. Count to 1, 2, 3, 4. Relax in and listen to your heart song and follow that intuitive gut reaction to the conclusion. Number 9 is laughing. Spirituality and contentedness tend to go hand in hand with laughter and joy. So seeing the humor in life and launching more often, laughing more often is one of the best ways to transform yourself into a greater, not only open at the top human being, a more metaphysical human being, because laughing carries an energy of joy, silliness and playfulness, innocence, happiness and fun. Laughing brings it, just like when we look at the good, the more we laugh, the more joy it brings us and the more joy around us. And the minute we start laughing, it immediately shifts us into that higher frequency. And with that, you shift everything and everyone around you too. If you've noticed, if you've ever come into a place that it was like so dull, and if you came in with that great energy, that joy and laughing, the default reaction to the group around you is to join you in that laughter. And it lifts the spirit, it lifts the energy. So when feeling down, I always suggest, and it's not that you have to laugh all the time. I'm not suggesting that all these things are easy, by the way. Sometimes there is no laughing to even bring about that joy in times of despair. But when you're feeling down and you're alone, watch a comedy, read a funny book, watch TV that makes you laugh. Make a choice to let go of your mad, your angry, your sad, and look for the ridiculously glad and fun that life offers. Commit to seeing everything and everyone through that lens of joy, knowing that even when someone is depressed and sad, you, in your joy, lift their spirits. Number 2, this was a big one for me growing up, was eliminate envy. Why couldn't I have this? Or why not have this? Why couldn't my family be like that family? Or why is all that good coming to them? I'm, just as brilliant as they are. So eliminate envy, because when we work on congratulating other people on their successes, instead of being envious, it transforms us, transforms envy into feeling positive. And what you wish for others, we know now, especially on this spiritual journey, karmically, eventually will come round and bring us down. Because that who you are, what you are putting out there, is going to come back to you in another form, in another way. So when you wish others happiness in their highest pursuits and accomplishments, it raises your spiritual vibration and happiness quotient and leads and attracts you to greater good in your life. Number 11, have faith in yourself, and also always have faith in something higher than yourself. It is a game changer. Even if you aren't religious, you can still aim to connect to the universe in a way that strengthens your spirituality and, more importantly, your relationship with yourself. One of the best ways to support your building a spiritual foundation and building your faith is to find a spiritual community and join it. Find your tribe and surround yourself with others who are on a spiritual journey, whether it's in person or at a center, church, temple, ashram, synagogue, or online in a Facebook group like this one at the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley. Tune in, tune up, hang out, learn, chill, and then ask questions of yourself on that spiritual journey and expand the depth and strength of your spiritual foundation. You will always, on this eternal path of becoming, will always be more enlightened with whatever path you are being led to be on. Number 12, be open to new experiences, emotions, and embracing the greater spiritual passion. Start each day by setting the intention to be open at the top, to receive all inspirations and all good coming your way. Spirituality is really all about being kind and caring enough to connect with yourself in that love, peace, and joy of spirit, but in that highest level. But in order to do that, we must first learn to love ourselves. When we choose to be open to learning about loving ourselves and others, our hearts open, our minds open, our lives expand, and our connectivity to the oneness of the allness, which I call God, that divine reflection. We are that divine reflection of that perfection. And when we connect and we see through that lens of the divine, our hearts open and our minds are so crystal clear, and we give and receive love in greater ways than we ever have, and joy comes to us 1,000-fold, as I say. You also, in that intelligence, learn how to set your boundaries in breathing into that unlimited potential. So it is so important to absolutely connect every day in every way to not only loving ourselves, but connecting to something greater than we are, which I call God, which is synonymous with love for me. And last but not least, exercises I think are really, really valid and important. Take a moment, every moment, to enjoy the moment you're in. Slow down and notice what you see, hear, smell, taste, feel, especially paying attention to the experience of it all. When you're in nature, see the colors, see the animals, see the birds, smell the fragrances. When you're eating, smell the food. Get all your taste buds involved. Make it a whole body experience. This simple shift in mindfulness, in paying attention moment by moment by moment, boosts your happiness and increases your capacity to enjoy pleasant events all day, every day, and overall in this ongoing journey in this lifetime, and I believe beyond. This connectivity is spirituality. And you know what? I have 15. I thought it was 14. Nope, there's 15. I forgot about this one. And to me, this is very important. What always moves me and moves me to connect and learn more and more and more about the divine self, and in that connection, the unlimited possibilities and the joy and the expansiveness who we all are, because God is I am, and it is absolutely unbridled greatness and passion. It seems that everyone wants to be passionate, but they don't know what real passion is. And they talk about passion in their journey, and yet some see that passion as and give that passion into something that is not the spiritual significance of who we are. They pay a high price for wrapping their entire beingness around a certain direction that within our spiritual awareness attaches us to the treadmill of our focus and the attachment to what I call the material world. That attachment and direction may lead you down the path of achieving more material goods, but will leave you empty, vacant, and wanting. And wanting and seeking something greater than that which you have, which is the material in front of you. And I always say none of that's going with us. What's going with us is our soul. And so the greatest gift we can give ourselves and be passionate about is connecting with the divine. So when people often, what they often mean when they say, I want to feel passionate about my work, it's usually let my work give me that feeling of passion that absolutely connects me with something greater than I am, the givingness of who I am back to source. In my relationships, I want to be more connected on that greater spiritual living. In my standing in the community, I want to feel alive, not exhausted, worn out, giving away to something that is not what is the greater part of me. I don't want to be beleaguered or demoralized. I want to feel that I am on this planet for a greater reason, and I want to use and know what my talents are so that I may give birth and be cultivated into something greater than I've even experienced in this moment. I know that there is so much more for each of us listening here to have that great moment in that passion that helps us find our purpose and gives life its greatest meaning and fills us with that greater passion. Sometimes when we're missing is the spiritual passion that may be tapped and untapped and uncorked for sure, but only when we allow ourselves to believe that our life and our work means something more than merely a paycheck or doing the secure thing. Rumi says, I've been doing Rumi meditations this week, to truly grow into one's soul, you must surrender to the love of the divine. You have to dissolve yourself into God, into the love that is contained within you, so that you can feel, think, see, be the love of the divine spirit itself. I believe that passion for the divine connection, revealing itself in and through and as us, pouring over into us like that river and that current, as what we crave the most, and wanting to follow that calling to us, that beckoning to us, that brings us more love, more joy, more wholeness, more compassion than anything else, is our commitment to our own unique divine spiritual practices. Love leads the way, passion leads the way, and law makes the way possible. And those spiritual practices are waiting for us to bring our love and our passion to them, so that we may get out of the intellectual with just staying in the ideas and create that deepened, wonderful relationship, that deepening, ongoing, unique relationship with the divine spirit that brings information into the passion of the heart. I love each and every one of you. I just want to close with knowing that as we connect and we come up with our own spiritual practices, that there is only the one. God is the power and presence, and that as I stay in the I am, God is I am. It's the only way it can be. And I say have a blessed night. I'll see you tomorrow morning with another meditation, and I love each and every one of you. Mwah! See you on the flip side. Peace out. Namaste.